after gluing in those clear parts for the windows, there were a couple of small things left to do for the inside of the body before I could move on to putting the chassis and body together. The first thing was to paint the headliner black so it wouldn't stick out as much, even though you're probably not going to see it, but some of you have asked me if I do this. Yes, I do this to pretty much every single model. Now, another thing I wanted to do before I had the chassis in was to paint that rubber molding between the front bumper and the hood of the car, or the trunk, the front trunk, the front of the car. I painted this by hand as I didn't really fancy doing all of this in some masking and then having to mask it off, and that taking about an hour, as I could easily do this in about 5 minutes by hand. I know some of you guys might have some trouble with this. If you're not comfortable with it, just don't do it and try masking it off. And then the final thing was a piece of mesh that I had to apply to the front bumper, and then the chassis could be fit in with the body. The wheels I will be using came in two pieces, an inner wheel and a lip that made the wheel deeper or less deep for the front or the rear. Now, I did not really want to glue these together, so I just figured put them together and add a piece of tape. Now, before I could move on to putting the wheels onto the car, I had to apply the photo etch part to the disc brake. And with that set and done, I removed the disc brake from the car as they were sticking out a bit too much, and by sawing them off, I'm removing a small amount of material from the inside so that the disc could sit in closer into the body and the wheel had a bit more room. So what I did is test fitted the wheel, saw how much it stuck out, removed some of the inside of the wheel and some of the inside where the disc brake is, until I was happy with the fitment and the offset on the car. I just glued them in. The rear wheels pretty much went the same way, but they just needed a bit more work. So first off, I removed a couple of millimeters from the inside of the wheel so that it would fit in closer to the body, and then I removed some of the spokes or some material on the inside of the spokes as the caliper was sticking out a bit too much and it could not sit flush on the inside of the wheel. Then I test fitted it a couple of times and eventually had to remove some more material from the inside lip of the wheel as it was holding it up from going closer or lower into the body. Just added the disc brake into it, did a test fit a couple of times, had to remove a bit more, and then finally just glued it all together. So with the wheels fit to the body, I could move on to some final details. The first one is some of the clear lenses for the tail and headlights. I added the black border around them to simulate the rubber like the real ones have. With the black border done, I added some bare metal foil to the inside of the clear parts to make it a bit more reflective and look a bit more realistic. Now I did this to the two side pieces, and instead of doing it on the center of the clear part, I did it on the center of the body part, as it had a small bit of detail there, so that I could capture that as well and not have it one flat piece like on the sides. that all done, I just took out the Revell contact clear and glued these clear pieces into place.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
The C1 models kit also supplied some headlights, but I didn't really like those, and it turns out Scale Production also produces some headlights for these Porsches. I took out their Singer style headlight kit and added that to this car. Now the exhaust that comes with the Tamiya kit pretty much looks like crap to my eye, so I cut off the exhaust tip and replaced it with a photo etch part from a Tamiya Nissan GTR R35 kit that I built a couple of years back and completely ruined, but I still had these pieces laying around, so I figured why not use them on this one. With the exhaust in place, I just painted the insides with some black paint and also did those vents on the rear bumper with some of that black as well, just to detail them out a bit more and not have them look like the rest of the body color. The C1 kit also supplied some door handles, but I didn't really like the shape of them. I'd rather have the ones that came with the Tamiya kit, so those were painted black and applied to the body. Now, the headlights that came from Scale Production were a multiple piece headlight unit. They come with the outer rings and buckets, and they have an inner ring, an inner lens, and an outer lens, though that got all glued together. As mentioned in an earlier video, I drilled some holes in the doors and in the mirrors, stuck a pin in it, painted everything so it could be friction fit, and I didn't really have to use any glue, so I friction fit those rear view mirrors into the side of the body, and that pretty much finished up this build.